You know, I did the
People
master
do it.
cleanse. I lost 6 pounds. I gained 18 pounds 2 weeks later. Like, I didn't eat for 21 days, hanging on the walls. Like, and then I gained 18 pounds later. Like, those quick fixes do not work.
It's
And how
actually making
dangerous
peace
are
with
they?
food.
How, I mean, to me, it's like, no offense to my friends on Facebook that decide to tell everybody that they're going on the master cleanse or any of these things. It can't be healthy.
It's not.
Rebound dieting does horrible things to our bodies and screws up metabolism. And again, I kind of go back to the same thing. They don't work.
Right.
That's why that first diet didn't stop the whole dieting industry, because it doesn't work.
I actually have a question. I have many questions,
wait,
but no. I'm joking, Jen.
No.
Go ahead, ladies first.
Do not.
Beautiful ladies first. Go.
I do gotta say is because I had my team of doctors and stuff when I was doing the master cleanse, and I started actually feeling really crazy. And what I didn't know is that when you do things like the master cleanse, if you're on any medication, whether it be aspirin or birth control or any mental disorder it wipes it out because it's cleaning your blood system. So it's very dangerous.
Where you're not going to metabolize your medicine in the way that you would.
It's so crazy.
So you're an inpatient facility, right?
No, we have a intensive outpatient
Okay.
program that's 4 hours a day, and then we have a partial hospital program that's 8 hours a day, and then we also have a really cool transitional living program where folks can come and transition back into life and still have the support of a community and house mom.
What is that's amazing but what does a meal look like? And I'm actually really curious about that. Like, just how does that work?
Well, at Shoreline, our dietitian and our diet staff make meals that they're balanced meals with anything. It could be macaroni and cheese, it could be lasagna, it could be fish, it could be anything. It's variety and having girls, bring in variety into their repertoire.
Yes, Jen, you could ask.
I have a question. What do you do when you find somebody either binging or purging?
Talk to them.
You talk it out.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause,
See,
I'm
I
afraid
love
that I'm
that
going to get
answer. Because you're right. It's not about scolding. It's like, and I think sometimes people want to be scolded. It's like Gabby that called up.
Right.
She wants us to say, "Oh, you're being bad," and I'm not going to say that. We're going to say, "We love you,"
Right.
And you're going to be better.
And I want to unwind it. I want to pull it apart and figure it out. Well, when did you have the idea that you were going to binge?
Right.
How soon? And how can we go back and help you to get that feeling and do something different earlier on? So sort of getting to know yourself better and understand when your stressors are increasing and when, what's going to lead you down that road and trying to head it off.
By the way, you're listening to Clean Radio Live. Let's go to Debbie from Pasadena. Welcome to Clean Radio, Debbie.
Hi.
Hi, Debbie.
Hi.
I love Pasadena's in the house.
I'm a mom.
Right.
He's an addict. He's 18. When he was 12, he was anorexic, and he went through all that treatment. And then he switched to binge eating.
Mm-hmm.
And now, I learned in his senior year of high school, he's abusing drugs. So now he's in a residential drug rehab place. And I'm wondering, I'm just new. I'm going to Al-Anon and all that, even though it's not alcoholism. But
it's the same thing. Al-Anon, Debbie, just so people out there that are listening, it's amazing that you're going to Al-Anon. Al-Anon is a 12-step group for family members of people that are struggling. Really, it should be with any form of addiction. So,
yeah, quite frankly, that's the only thing that's keeping me sane right now.
Right.
And I'm learning to, the difference is that now he's 18, so I have a lot of less power than I did when he was 12. At 12, I could stick him in the place.
Right. You had some leverage.
So I'm wondering, what can I do? Because I know with Al-Anon, they teach us, it has to be him. It has to be his choice. I tried to plant the seed. I said, look, drugs, eating, it's still all addiction. And they told me at that place they can't really control the food because they're working on the drug addiction. So I'm just wondering, what can I do? Or maybe nothing. I mean, do I have to just go on and let him make his choices?
No, Debbie, here's the thing, and it's incredible what you're struggling with right now. First of all, do you have insurance? Is that how he's in treatment?
Yes.
Okay, so I would encourage this while here's the thing, right? All you could ever be in life is a vessel for somebody. You can't, and that's one of the things Al-Anon is going to teach you. You know, you could walk your son somewhere, but you can't, whatever the good
Make
men
him drink water.
Make him drink water, right? And what you could do is you could say, hey, call Rachel Levy. Here's a number for the Shoreline Treatment Center that deals with food and food addiction and food issues. And you could say, here's her number. I heard her on the radio, and I heavily suggest you call.
But also enabling. And I think you were talking also about drug addiction and stuff. We have to, at one point, you have to disconnect with love, like detach with love. And that is one of the hardest things. I mean, my mom had to do it. I know a lot of my people in my life had to do it. It's detaching with love, knowing that there is something bigger that's going to protect your child, and also knowing you're not the cause of it. You can't change it and you can't cure it, but you can definitely be proactive in it.
This is one of the things Jennifer and I don't always see eye to eye on, and that's fine because we both got sober and we both have dealt with these issues. But my father, when I got sober, Debbie, when I was 22, my father used to say, as long as my son is alive, there's a chance. And what that meant was, and he was an Al-Anon too, and what that meant was no matter where I called from, if I needed to get into treatment, he would put me in. He wouldn't help me out with other things that I wanted, like money, but he would say, here's a number for a place.
Well, that's exactly what I told him. I said, I will always support you in getting healthy, whether that is eating, drugs, whatever. I'll pay for sober living when you get out.
Right.
And education. He was supposed to start college. Of course, he can't now.
Okay, that'll take time.
So I told him I'm willing to do those things. But right now he's, as soon as I say, this is what I'm willing to do, he'll say, F Al-Anon. Right away he knows my language.
And that's good. It's, I always used to say, I mean this, I used to tell my parents it cost $10 to go to 12-step meetings. And if not for Al-Anon, where they learned that it was free, my life, I might not have been sober.
I'm getting a lot of great questions too here. Is not eating considered an eating disorder? I do that a lot because it's the one thing I can control. And I think like you're talking about as well is, Debbie, is that, you can't control your son, but you can definitely like pray and keep going your Al-Anon meetings and answering that question. It's like, yeah, you are, if you don't eat and that's one thing you control, you might have an eating disorder, correct?
Kind of sounds like it.
Yeah.
If you're not naturally honoring your hunger and your fullness, and you're doing it, it's giving you some sensation of power, control, even reducing some anxiety, whatever it is. It's
no question. My son has the eating disorder. Okay. He just went from anorexia to binge
right.
eating.
Did you take down the number for the Shoreline?
I did.
Okay, and you're going to give it a call tomorrow?
Yes, I will.
And so again, you calling up and saying, hey, my son's in rehab and all that stuff, it just means you're trying to set up a process. And remember, your son's 18 years old. He's obviously been struggling with stuff, and it's okay to love your son when they're 18 years old. I'm not against tough love of kicking an 18-year-old kid out of a house ever, because he could only end up in worse places. And, it's great that what you're doing for your son, and I encourage you to keep on helping in this way, not giving him money to do stuff, but saying here are places where you could get help.
Thank you.
And Debbie, thank you for being a fan of Clean Radio.
Thank you,
Debbie. You can go to our Facebook page, Facebook.com/Clean Radio. And if you have any questions about any of this stuff, please give us a call, because we do treat this stuff too.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great night, Debbie.
A lot of patients do have it. I from working.
Yeah.
A lot of people come up with eating disorders.
Yeah.
I talked about this last week as well. There's 4 things I was taught is that if my drug addiction, alcoholism, eating disorder, sexual relations, and acting out sexually, and cutting, and I'm not a cutter, but if those 4 things were in check, then I was okay. And I was like, I could never see the end of like the light there. And I now am in the light. Yeah. And I mean, I think it's amazing what you do. And I think it's so encouraging because it's such a topic that people don't really talk about, but are so shameful about all the time.
It's the elephant in the room.
Yep.
I said it first.
Yes, you did say it first. By the way, if you just tuned in, you're listening to Clean Radio Live. That's Clean with a K. We're running out of time. You could find all of our old shows at cleanradio.com. We have amazing people that really do put on this show, and I really just want to thank everybody. I hate when people at the end of a show say thank you, but they're running out of time. I want to do it when we have time. So I want to thank everybody that helps put the show together.
Patty,
Patrick Kennedy,
so
Steve, who
He's
I
so
can never figure out his
cute.
last name, Jesse behind the counter, Rand, thank you, Caroline,
for
everybody,
the credit
Krista
cards,
Gugliotti, and Misty Barnes, who helped put the show on tonight because she brought Rachel Levy into the studio.
And you, Judah, you do a lot, even though you
I'm
get
the
on my
Judah.
nerves. You're amazing.
I want to say this. We're talking about food. I want to encourage everybody out there because I'm amazed with the amount of people we've gotten calls tonight over such a hard and that I'm that
getting
are
people
tweeting.
talking about Stephen,
Right.
Eddie Van Halen
Yeah.
being in the hospital
Well,
because
of this. I encourage everybody to give Shoreline, because we're running out. But Jennifer, I can never really cut
I
you
do think
off.
we need to do this again, though. There's
Yes.
so
I know.
There's
much
just
to cover.
no, we will be doing this again. And by the way, this is before I forget, this is National Recovery Month.
Mm-hmm.
Clean Treatment is giving away one bed a month for the next 12 months.
Awesome.
And for everybody that's interested in that, go to cleantreatmentcenter.com. We have an application for it. We are going to have you back in. But I encourage everybody to call you tomorrow. I know I don't want to, and I mean that because I know you're going to try to steer them in the right place. Give us just quickly, what's your number, the info?
It's 562-434-6007 at Shoreline Treatment Center. And look, if we can't help you, I will absolutely help you to find the right place.
You're amazing. You're amazing.
And how many people? What are the statistics on people? How many people deal with food addiction? Do they have exact numbers?
They do. I don't.
Okay, sorry.
I'd say
they
we'll get those
exist,
numbers.
but not in my
but
head.
There's about let's say there's about 30 million people out there. Let's say I'm just coming up with a number. If somebody wants to disprove me, disprove me. Probably about 30 million people out there that are dealing with food addiction. So you're not alone. And I think with this thing with hiding food and all these things, there is a complete that isolation and
Absolutely. And shame.
Yeah.
And to people out there tonight, you can't eat away your shame. You can't,
it doesn't change
right.
until you change.
Right. And I love that your approach is this loving approach. And you're not going to beat people up. So how do people, if they call up Shoreline, are they going to be able to go to your sober living? Is all this connected?
It's all connected. They would need to be seeing a therapist and a dietitian as part of Shoreline and/or be in one of our other programs. And it's important that if they have a dual diagnosis, if they have an addiction issue, that they've managed that to some degree. We really encourage folks that do have addictions to continue in their AA community, and if they haven't already gotten there, to become involved in that. And then we kind of embrace what we do and try to work those two things together.
Perfect. We're running out of time. I want to thank everybody that's listening tonight. Our clean followers, come up with a good name for our clean, whatever you want to call us, our clean followers. Jennifer, you're always awesome, and I loved you on this topic. You're just, to everybody out there that's listening, you're an amazing person with all this jazz. The discussion continues at cleanradio.com. We'll see you next week.
Thanks.
Are you struggling with an addiction that's ruining your life? Want to have a confidential conversation with a professional that will immediately assist you? Do you suspect a loved one is abusing drugs and would like a free drug testing kit and consultation? Clean Treatment Center is standing by right now to help those with addictions and the people who care about them. Call 888-601-6040. That's 888-601-6040. Or go to Clean Treatment Center, that's clean with a K, cleantreatmentcenter.com.